fulfill the thing, fulfill your role. If you're going to be, some of you guys are going to be husbands someday, fulfill your goddamn role of being a husband. Stand up, lead your family, be strong. Don't be a coward, don't fall back, do the thing that you're meant to do. Be loyal, be kind, be strong, be assertive, have justice. Also, be familiar with grace and mercy. Girls, you're going to be a wife someday. Fulfill your goddamn role as that. Do the thing that you're here to do. This is what you're going to find is the source of most of our emotional and just life failure. Our willingness to take on a role, but our unwillingness to fulfill it. Do people wonder if you're dangerous or not? If not, you're not doing it right. People should be aware that you're dangerous. You should be dangerous. But you should also be virtuous. You should restrain that thing. A lion doesn't walk around killing everything that it sees. A lion won't walk around killing the things that it has to. But when it has to, it does it. I'm going to involve you guys in a debate. What do you suppose is the most powerful thing in the world? Most powerful thing is truth.
Guys, it's love.
Yeah. Because that's what Nietzsche is talking about both of those things here. So, why is it that you would tell your friend the truth?
Because you love them.
Because you love them.
Hopefully. Hopefully. Are there any other reasons to tell someone that you love the truth?
It gives you like a good image.
Okay, so we might say it's
convenient.
It's virtuous.
So that's where the thing is. We've got these three options. You can tell your friend the truth because you love them, so you're telling the truth out of love. You can tell the truth because of, I don't want to say image, but yeah, what I mean by image here is reputation.
Yeah.
I'm just saying image because it's shorter to write. And then we've also got you tell the truth because of virtue. It's the right thing to do. The right thing to do. It's funny how oftentimes our friendships cause us to behave against virtue. Like we have to lie to keep our friends. Oh no, your hair looks great. I love those shoes on you. They're fantastic. Oh yeah, no, you were right there. That person was completely wrong. If you're ever in a car with somebody who road rages a lot, but I mean like they're the bad driver, not anybody else, you're going to find yourself having to lie a lot. Or else you're going to find yourself having to walk a lot. You know, dude, did you see that guy came out of nowhere? I saw him like a mile back, man. How come you didn't see this person? Oh, well, you know what? Get out. Walk. That person came out of nowhere. God damn, what person? Holy shit, I just saw them. Where'd they come from? Good, now you can ride. Now you may now stay in the car. And I'm not just talking about people who are wrong, because people can be wrong once in a while, but you'll find people who are constantly not seeing things, or constantly they're at the intersection and they're always assuming that they got there first, even though you saw them. They got there like ninth, and there's only 4 ways to go, and they still got there ninth. That's how late they got there. But we'll find that a lot of times having friends causes us to compromise this thing right here, this virtue thing. And then we'll say, well, we do it out of love. We lie and we compromise our virtue because of love. And that's true. That does happen sometimes, because it isn't just that you're afraid to tell the truth because you don't want to lose a friend. It's not just because you don't want to have to walk all the way to wherever you're going, or walk home from however far away you are. Like I have this standing rule that whenever I go somewhere with a friend of mine, I always carry my keys with me. I never leave my keys in their car. Why? I might have to tell the truth while I'm outside the car, and then I don't get my keys back. If I ever go somewhere with you and you drive, and I'm sitting in I'm your passenger, if I leave my keys inside of your car, you could look at that and go, Scanlon trusts me. Scanlon trusts that I can take truth. True story, because I have been left places before for telling the truth, and getting my keys back was difficult. So never again, man. I will never again. But sometimes you'll tell the truth, but sometimes we will actually lie because we really just genuinely don't want to hurt the person's feelings. And sometimes we think of it as like, a little white lie, which is racist, by the way. We'll think of it as just a little white lie. It's not a big deal. It's not going to do anything. But what it does do is it chips away at this. It chips away at this. In other words, the more comfortable you get with telling small lies, the better you get at it. And the more comfortable you get with telling small lies and the better you get at it, the more comfortable you're going to be with telling big lies. Because we can always justify it. We should never underestimate our ability to rationalize anything. And if we can rationalize small little lies, we can start to rationalize big lies. But, and especially, by the way, we can justify anything that we're doing for somebody else because we care about them. Well, I don't want them to, I mean, imagine if you're a doctor and you have this patient, and you've known this patient for 20 years, you've been taking care of them, they come in, you do a scan, and they've got cancer. We'll make it stage 3 cancer, not even 4, because 4 means they're terminal. 3, you gotta do something now. You gotta do something now. I've known him for 20 years, though. I won't tell him. Oh, and you go back in the room. Everything looks great. You're doing fantastic. Pinnacle of health. Oh, thank you so much. Did I do you any favors by telling you that lie? No. Here's a controversial one for you. There's this comedian who went to Planned Parenthood. You can see the video. And he went in and just was like, and presented himself as just like, he's like 6'4", he's a big dude. And he put on a wig, and he told them that he identifies as a woman. And he was there to take a pregnancy test. Looking at this guy, this dude is a dude. So he goes, so they're telling him, oh, okay, absolutely, and they're treating him, oh yeah, sure, come on in. And he's not, and he's playing it up because he's a comedian. He goes in and he does the pee test. He didn't pee in a cup himself though. He brought in the urine of one of his staff members who was pregnant, and he swapped the pee out. He goes out, they test it, and what do they find? Pregnant. Do you guys know what happens if a guy takes a pregnancy test and it comes back that you're pregnant? Cancer. Yeah, it means you have severe cancer. Did they tell him he had severe cancer? No. No, they told him, congratulations, you're expecting. Did they do him any favors? Did they do him any favors with this? I can send you the video, by the way, if you're interested in seeing it. You know, sometimes we have to sit there and go, well, virtue, love, truth matters. This person, if this comedian had been honest about it, if he had been, I'm sorry, if he had been, if this had been a genuine situation, this was a few years ago, that guy would be dead today because no one would have told him that he had severe cancer. And so we have to figure out where those lines are for all of us. Are those lines with our friends? At what point do you want to tell your friends the truth? At what point would you want your friends to tell you the truth? And are those levels going to be different? How important is it for you to keep those friends? Is it more important for you to be virtuous? Or is it more important for you to keep the friends? And by the way, this is not like a, you should do this. I don't know what you should do. I don't know. Because I don't know how deep your convictions are. You might be someone who just doesn't believe that there's such a thing as truth, and you might believe that it's okay to lie, and if that's the case, then there's no conflict whatsoever. But I would warn you, though, about if you have friends who you find who you catch telling small little lies here and there, just be careful. Do you think that they're not going to justify a lie against you at some point? You know, if you have a friend who gets mad at somebody, so they spread rumors about them and they make up some stuff, do you really not think that you're next? I remember I had a student years ago. I used to do a lot of practical jokes. I don't really do them anymore, but I would do them constantly. And I had this student, his name was Guillermo. I still talk to him today. The guy just travels all over the world. I don't know how he does it, but he does. Every time he posts on Instagram, he's in some other country. But I mean, he barely works. Anyway, good for him. He went to my fridge one time and he asked me if he could have a sparkling ice. And I'm like, sure. So the balls of sparkling ice. So when he got one, he went to go get something. I took it and I just started shaking that thing like crazy. I put it back down. So he came over and he opened it and it just exploded as an understatement. This thing just everywhere. And I lost it. He was just like, and he was trying to figure out what happened. He's like, what, whoa, what? What's that? And I told him as soon as you turned around, I shook that thing like a baby, And he was like, He was just, why? I go, because it's funny. And he's like, I go, dude, you know that that's what I do. I do practical jokes. He's like, I didn't think you'd do one to me, though. Whose fault is this? At some point, you have to ask yourself, the things that I see my friends doing, how long until it comes back on me? Because it's not a matter of if. It's a matter of when. And this doesn't mean that your friends don't make mistakes. Everybody messes up. They'll get angry. They'll do things. And you're finding out who they are in those moments. And by the way, that's something that can really deepen your friendship. Because if you see somebody who gets really angry, goes off and calls people names, then you realize they're only doing it because they're angry. And you're also with them in those times when they calm down and they realize it was the wrong thing to do. Now when that person and you get in an argument and that person goes off on you and calls you names, now you realize, okay, that's just what they do. Not that it's okay, but you realize this is what they do and that they're going to calm down after all. So now you've seen their process as well. So there's an insight. Yeah. And so you have to figure those lines out for yourself. How much love, how much virtue do you want to give off? Now, for Nietzsche here, if you want a friend, you must also be willing to wage war for him, on their behalf. On their behalf. What does he mean by war? Yes. Yes. Literal war. You have to be ready to fight for them. You have to be ready to defend them. And you have to be able to defend them in every area. And that means that you have to be capable of violence, sure, but also you have to be capable of being someone who can defend. In other words, you have to be somebody who's strong enough to defend. If a friend of yours gets into a verbal war with somebody, I don't know, do you have the skill set to back them up in that realm? If you have a friend who gets jumped, do you have the ability to defend them in that realm? If not, then you don't have the capability of being a friend. You have the capability to a limited extent, but you don't have the ability to actually be there for them in all of those times. And this is one of the reasons it's good for us to develop ourselves, to become as powerful and strong in every area, not just physically, of course, but intellectually, emotionally, psychologically, to be the kind of a person who people can turn to when things go bad. It's a good thought experiment. Bless you. If your parents were to die today, are you the kind of a person who your family could turn to be an emotional support? Or are you the kind of person who's going to have to turn to others and have them be your emotional support? Which of those two characters are you? I'm sure all of you know that. I'm sure everybody has that aunt, right? That when someone dies or something goes bad, it's all about them. And they're in the corner wailing about everything, or they're on Facebook posting about it. It's all about them. What's that?
My sister.
Yeah. Mine too. Yeah. When my mom died, that was my sister. My sister was at first in the corner of the hospital. I do that because that's a really good impression of her. That's why. She and my mom had a horrible relationship because of my sister's fault. It really was. My sister is not a good person. I can go over it, but just take my word for it. She's not a good person. So when my mom died, of course, why is she in the corner wailing? Because she had a horrible relationship with my mom who was dying. And she had no opportunity to ever fix that. And so it didn't even become about my mom dying. It became about how she felt about it because she knew there was no ability to repair that emotional damage on her part. She wasn't capable of being a support system to anybody else. If I needed somebody, she was incapable of being my sister in that context. And that's the thing we have to figure out about ourselves. Am I the person who's capable of being a brother? Am I capable of being a friend? Am I capable of being even a boss? Am I capable of being any of these roles that I find myself in at some point? Because if not, well, I mean, that's your job, isn't it? If you're someone's brother, your job is to be a brother. If you're someone's sister, your job is to be someone's sister. If you're a parent, if you're a friend, to fulfill the role of that thing that you take on. Either you take it on willingly because you choose to be people's friends, or you take on the role because that's the role that you've been assigned, to be someone's brother or sister or parent or whatever. But you have to be capable of doing that thing. And that means, first off, figuring out what is it to be a friend. Do you have the ability to have your friends' backs? If not, which one would you rather have as a friend, a lion or a rabbit? Lion. Hopefully a lion, yeah. And I know some people say, a rabbit, because they're so cute. Yeah, until you need them. Then they die, and then you die after that. It's better to have a friend who's a lion. Here's the
Free
trick.
food.
What's that?
Free food, a rabbit.
Free food? Yeah, how long?
Just a bit, but hey, it can at least sustain for a couple days if you really want it to.
Can't a lion hunt? Can't a lion hunt?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can choose that. Have a friend for a day, have food for a day or two, or you can choose to hunt with a lion. Now, here's the challenge. How many lions want to hang out with rabbits? None. A lion wants to hang out with a lion. Tigers want to hang out with tigers. If you want to have a lion as a friend, then you better become a lion yourself. Otherwise, a lion wouldn't want anything to do with you. And the funny thing is that a lion can be sitting there sleeping, and a gang of rabbits can come up. 10,000 rabbits, like we're going to get this one lion. Yeah, exactly. And they're all in mass. They surround the lion. Does the lion have anything to worry about? No. The only thing the lion has to do is figure out how much time it's going to take to slaughter all 10,000 rabbits. The 10,000 rabbits feel tough. They feel like they're in a mass. They feel like, hey, we're all out here. It's all of us against that one lion. But the truth is they stand no chance against the lion. They just think that they do. If that lion decides to roar, first off, half of them are going to flee. A quarter of the ones that remain will die of a heart attack. And then he'll eat the rest. And that's maybe a lesson for ourselves as well. There's a mob of people who mob together because they have to mob together, because they're not strong enough to stand on their own. And what do? They attack the one threat that they see, the person who's independent, the person who speaks for themselves, the person who's powerful, articulate, the person who's everything that they're not. And then they gang up on that person. And the problem is that sometimes the lion will cower and be like, okay, fine, you don't need to do that if you're a lion. Roar back, fight back. You're going to find that those rabbits are going to flee. There'll be a couple that will stick around because they're true believers, but those are the ones you're going to eat. And at least you're going to have a good snack for a couple of days off of the rabbits. But you've got to be capable of being that thing. Whatever your role is, you have to be capable of being it. If you're a student, be capable of being a student. What does it mean to be a student? Figure it out. If you find yourself miserable in school, here's one of the reasons why. You're not fulfilling your role. You're not fulfilling your role. You're not doing the thing that you're here to do. Surprise, surprise. Why are so many teachers miserable? Because they're not good teachers. They're not teachers. They're barely teachers. They won't even call themselves teachers. They'll say, I'm an educator. Uh-huh. And the gardener is a landscape architect. I get you. Fulfill the thing. Fulfill your role. If you're going to be, some of you guys are going to be husbands someday. Fulfill your goddamn role of being a husband. Stand up. Lead your family. Be strong. Don't be a coward. Don't fall back. Do the thing that you're meant to do. Be loyal. Be kind. Be strong. Be assertive. Have justice. Also, be familiar with grace and mercy. Girls, you're going to be a wife someday. Fulfill your goddamn role as that. Do the thing that you're here to do. This is what you're going to find is the source of most of our emotional and just life failure. Our willingness to take on a role, but our unwillingness to fulfill it. So fulfill your role. If you're going to be a friend, don't be a friend if you can't fulfill it. That doesn't mean that you have to be 100% capable today, but work towards it. Be the thing that you're meant to be. Finally, you must be capable of being an enemy. An enemy to your friend, yes, but also an enemy to your enemies as well. A worthy adversary. Are people worried about you? Do people wonder if you're dangerous or not? And if not, you're not doing it right. People should be aware that you're dangerous. You should be dangerous. But you should also be virtuous. You should restrain that thing. A lion doesn't walk around killing everything that it sees. A lion won't walk around killing the things that it has to. But when it has to, it does it. It does it. So, be capable of being a friend. Be capable of being an enemy, which means you have to develop yourself. Questions, comments, concerns, complaints, criticisms, critiques?